Welcome, Global Alliance. Welcome to the Gap Mastermind every Monday at noon. Always excited to get on. Always excited to see you guys on, especially today. Before we get started, okay, I'm sure you guys know this, but we have something called Build at Sea that is coming up. So Gil put that in the chat, buildatc.com. Want to make sure that we're just going to keep reminding you guys. It's funny, we had a conversation this morning about Build at Sea, and I think it's really for a couple of reasons, right? So obviously, everybody who is serious about agent attraction and has been talking to somebody, team leader, broker, top agent, these are the type of events you want to invite them to. You want to start talking to them right now about Build at Sea, because big decisions happen at big events. You've heard that a million times. I'm gonna tell you again. Every time somebody goes to this and they actually experience the energy and the culture of eXp Realty as a global company, as a #1 independent brokerage in the world, rubbing elbows with guys like Brent Gove, with Gil, with Leo, with Veronica, with all these folks, it's a totally different feeling than what people think eXp is about. So that's #1. #2 is, and we were just having this conversation this morning about one of the top producers in our office who really hadn't been plugging in to the local culture, but more importantly, plugging into the EXP culture, to the amount of tools. Like Gil was going over some tools this morning. Like, I don't know how long some of you guys have been with EXP, but like, we're on fire right now. For some of us who have been around, I mean, I was, I think 2019, we were good, but we're starting to brush up on great now. And I mean, we are adding tool after tool. We have expuniversity.com and even all the toolkits. I mean, I remember when we needed to find something and I literally had to ask 5 people and get a piece of information from 10 people and trying to put something together. And now EXP has these great toolkits, these great systems. Okay. But somebody in your group right now hasn't plugged into the EXP, greatness as a company. They haven't really gone to an EXP con. They haven't gone to a big event. And that's a person that you need to start talking to right now and saying, please, like, what do I have to do? Do I have to get you to come onto a cruise and make it look like a vacation? I mean, whatever I got to do to get you to an event so that you don't start thinking that you don't have this massive, incredible company behind you. Okay. So there's somebody in your group right now that is thinking, oh, maybe the grass is greener with some other company. And they haven't even scratched the surface of learning what eXp Realty is about. So with all that being said, welcome again to Gap Mastermind. We're going to be talking about something that you've never heard about. Nobody's even talking about this at all, right? Nobody's even mentioning these 2 letters anywhere. AI. And I know you're thinking to yourself, Bobby's obviously being sarcastic, and I am, because you are hearing about AI every day, every week. Everybody's telling you things like, dude, if you don't use AI, you are going to get left behind. And I got to tell you something, it's 100% true. It's 100% true. AI is one of those things that if you're tired of hearing about it, good, because you need to continue to hear about it, because this is a thing that will be ever changing and is not going anywhere ever, 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 ever. And what I want you to think about AI is repetitions, right? So my cult leader, Tony Robbins, says repetition is the mother of skill, right? And I used to think back in the day, I used to think to myself, man, repetition is not fun, right? You get in the gym, you do repetitions, right? And it's the same thing over and over and over again. But here's the thing, you get stronger, don't you? You do it over and over and over, and you start seeing the results. And this is, I want you to think about AI like working out. This is not something you can ever stop. The training never stops, right? You're going to go to the gym. You're not going to arrive one day and be in shape and hope you can keep it up. It's literally going to be like, oh, we got to go to the gym again tomorrow. And so I want you to get excited every time you get an opportunity to hear about AI, to get one little nugget, to get one little skill, right? And I'm very excited because the gentleman who's going to be teaching you today is the guy I've known now. I don't know, man, 4 years. I could be off. Um, and it's awesome. This is even a bigger deal to me because this is a guy that I've seen truly evolve, if you will, to the man he is today. Him and his wife have an incredible real estate partnership. She's been out there, producing her butt off. But here's a guy who has been kind of forming the systems and the structure for their business for a long time. But I remember when this gentleman came into the office, and I could tell he was kind of looking for like, okay, I'm not like the out there, like super high eye socialite, meet with a bunch of people type of, real estate entrepreneur. He was really more of a systems and tech guy, and then this AI thing starts really to take off. And I felt like, man, this guy found his thing. Like what a perfect time in history for Victor, for you to like find like AI to start to grow, and then you find this thing that is like totally your jam. Like this is totally your jam. So guys, I want you to get excited about what you're going to learn today from a dear friend of mine and an AI expert, Mr. Victor Diaz. How you doing, brother?
Bobby, thank you, man. That was amazing. I'm gonna need you to introduce me in my event in June 25th in Tampa.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I got you.
Man, good morning, everybody. I'm Bobby. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's great to see you.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to pour into everybody today and teach everyone about AI, about past, present, and future. So, like, I'm ready when you are, man.
Dude, take it away, my friend.
Sweet, sweet. Okay, so Evolve with Artificial Intelligence, hosted by me, Victor Diaz. Let's see. There we go. So I am Victor Diaz, co-founder of Evolve States Group. I am responsible for the operations and technology and marketing of our business. We've been in real estate for 5 years. Prior to real estate, I was in an industry called e-discovery for 11 years. And e-discovery ultimately is me posting data, collecting it from a corporation, and allowing lawyers to review this data via text searching. Something we do every day. We Google stuff every day, except Google's being replaced by AI now. My responsibilities there was senior engineer, team lead, project manager. Ultimately, my job was to reduce costs for major law firms. And one of the major elements of that was leveraging AI before it was even called AI. We did AI-driven conversation awareness and data calling. There's fancy words and terminologies like near deduplication and text analysis and blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. Let's break that stuff down. So like ultimately it's everything is text. Everything comes out to text, and if everything can be interpreted in text, it could be broken down into ones and zeros. And that's ultimately what we have today. A conglomerate of ones and zeros building a large language model or ChatGPT. So, with that being said, Bobby, what's your like most or least conventional way of using ChatGPT today? Because normally I'm like, do you use it for email? Do you use it for communication? Yeah, listen, we're at a point with AI that's expected. But what's like the least conventional way that you've used AI?
I don't think I'm the best candidate for this, but the one thing that I've used it for a lot is actually, so I'll give you a good example. The other day I was
Mm,
asked to invest in a company. And so I had some reservations about investing in the company. So I was talking to ChatGPT about my reservations. I was asking it questions about valuation. I uploaded the contracts that were given to me by this company,
perfect.
get me the investment. I asked it about the risks of this contract. How am I exposed? And just having that back and forth conversation to make a high level investment decision, like it's next to me. That's just next level, to have something like that. And that, I don't know if that's unconventional, but that's how I use it.
No, I mean, listen, that's super practical. That's something we leverage every day here in our business in terms of contract analysis and whatnot. I actually made a specific GPT geared towards that to compress time for new agents, right? Because it's like there's so many contracts, right, that you can choose from Florida Realtors. You know, it's the same as is, right? But for the new agent, understanding that at a deeper level and being able to elaborate that to your client and compress that time, right? I think that helps a lot, and that buys back time to be able to do more dollar productive activities. Um, so yeah, we that's yeah, amazing. So next slide. So I'm gonna try to break this down in 60 seconds, the history of AI in 60 seconds. So I love this because it's an impossible ask because you're asking me to break down the last 100 years of computer science. So no problem, I got you. Pun intended. So it begins in the Dartmouth Conference. Ultimately, this is a meeting of the most prevalent minds of computer science at the time. And they ultimately had one question. The question was, can computers think? And the answer was ultimately, yeah, computers can think because a lot of choices in life tend to be binary when you think about it, you know, yes or no, get up out of bed, don't get up out of bed, go work out, don't work out, have that donut, don't have that donut, right? Like it all adds up into a lot of data points, a lot of choices to be made. And like I said in the beginning, if everything can be translated to text, then yeah, everything can be recorded and analyzed, right? So with that being theorized in the Dartmouth conference, you know, afterwards, right, and all that development, we encountered the first AI winter. You know, the AI winter came from a lack of data. There was no data. Um, so with that being said, you know, compressing time a little bit, afterwards, you know, we realize we don't have the data. We'll start working towards the data with consumer products. And then now that we have the data, we don't really have the processing technology to process all this information. So it's like, oh no, we have two major hindrances. So with consumer products coming to market and everyone having a device in their hands comes the free flowing data, terabytes, petabytes on a daily basis being flowed through the internet today. So this really re-sparked the field of artificial intelligence in 2007 and allowed a reinvigoration, a compounding effect of building upon ones and zeros to larger algorithms to predictive analytics, and allows AI to exist today because we have all the processing power we need. We have all the data we need. Now we do all the training now. And now we have baby brain, I like to call it. We have several models of baby brains. So that's my AI in 60 seconds pitch. So apologies if that's long-winded. I'm working on compressing that. It's my best way of articulating what computer science has done within the past 100 years. And it's been nothing short of a miracle. Imagine the next 100 years, right? So what is a large language model? Bobby, what do you think is a large language model? What comes to mind?
I think of like a supercomputer taking in a bunch of data from like everybody in the world and becoming smarter. That's the best I can do.
Okay, no, yeah. I mean, that's a delicate balance of perception and technicality, right? Part of that is correct because you need data from the web. That's called data scraping, right? We collect text from websites, index it, and that's like an information base. But what do you do with that baseline information, right? Like that's where the large language model comes in. So I created a metaphor with ChatGPT, and ultimately, a large language model is like developing a city from a blank map. At first, it's just empty space, raw ones and zeros, like untouched land. And then roads or neural networks are laid out, connecting different areas of knowledge. So buildings, aka large language patterns, rise, shaped by training or fine tuning over time. People, users, move in, interacting, giving feedback, and making the city smarter, more efficient, and more responsive ultimately. So, you know, just like a thriving city evolves from careful planning and continuous growth, and a large language model transforms from raw data into a dynamic, ever improving intelligence just by user interaction. So the more we use it, smarter it's going to get. The more technical aspects, the more data points we give it, the more intricacies, right? Um, it's just like any tool that's been created within the past 150 years. This is going to be powerful technology to transform society, both individualistically and collectively, like to be able to have the smartest person in the world in the palm of your hand, to be able to do contract analysis, to brainstorm investment opportunities. That's time compression. So like the AI landscape today, we all know of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is king. Um, Cloud, sorry, that's my beautiful wife calling my dog. Babe, I'm on the Zoom. Gap Mastermind, you want to say hi?
Shoot, sorry.
You want to say hi? Might as well show your face.
Hi, Alexis.
Sorry, guys.
Global Alliance says hi.
Bye bye. Sorry about that, guys. Coming from meetings. So yeah. All right. So yeah. So ChatGPT is king, right? And I'll explain that to you after this next slide. But this is the landscape today, and I wanted to highlight these other three for a specific reason. Cloud exists and is really great at programming and data science. It's just another large language model that's developing their internal tool suite with like web searching and deeper thought analysis. But nothing beats ChatGPT right now. Nothing. Grok is really centered and trained around social media data because it's integrated into Twitter or X right now. Yeah, same thing. If anything, Elon Musk helped launch OpenAI decades ago. And, he saw how profitable ChatGPT was and decided to create his own large language model. And that's why Grok exists today. Um, After that is DeepSeek. DeepSeek is only on this board right now because of cost. Cost $6 million relative to $50 billion a day or a month that ChatGPT operates off of. Also, DeepSeek comes from China. And, China censors, it's not the best, right? It's not the most accurate or truthful. And that's what we should seek for in artificial intelligence is absolute truths, right? Not censoring, super factual and data driven. So yeah, so that's really the AI landscape today in terms of large language models. There's more, right? There's going to be more. It will get to a point where eventually in society 10 years from now, large language models will be communicating with each other. A large language model will be just like a computer chip on any device. Imagine that, where every device that you own is smarter than you. I mean, technically that's now. So yeah, that's a very scary and promising future. So with that being said, like today, the top 5 ways people use AI, in 2022, I remember using OpenAI for systems and brainstorming, but I found myself really wasting a lot of time in regards to repeating myself because, as I said, as time progresses, the AI gets smarter. The more we use it, the more refined it gets. So as you can see through this flowchart here, in the beginning, it was text generation, image generation, language translation, all basic stuff, right? But now we have workflow automation, business content, voice assistants, visual aids, creative writing. I've written a couple ebooks that I plan on posting on my website. So like this is a tool that has helped us in our business leverage so much time compression that it allows us a sense of omnipresence in some regard. And that's what we try to hope for. Especially with video content creation, that's super critical to our business, having that long form content and short form content, because media is how you get into the minds of people. And with ChatGPT, that only compresses time to allow you to do that. in terms of production, in terms of shooting, in terms of technical capability. ChatGPT, your best friend in the box, allows you to do anything. It really does allow you to do anything. So why ChatGPT, right? Why ChatGPT? So we have voice interaction, right? We have vision capabilities. We have image generation, which was terrible for such a long time, and now it is so much better. We have Sora, which is video production. While it's in its infancy, it really does a great job at producing short form video content. And I'll show an example in a later slide. ChatGPT allows custom GPT creation or creating and training a custom GPT towards a use case. So, for example, contract analysis, content creation. I'll show you some of what I was able to create and what we leverage in our business on a day to day. Aside from that, it's deep research, which ultimately allows a larger context window for ChatGPT to open up and process and analyze information from a web and provide PhD level results ultimately. I only do that when, yeah, investment opportunity, right? Contract analysis, that's when I would do that. So that way it can read information from the web and do a little form of data scraping and provide information contextual to the industry that you may be investing in, right? Maybe there's a market trend that you're not privy to. ChatGPT could make you privy to it. And then after deep research, it's operator. Operator is is really special in my heart because it's AI autonomy. AI autonomy meaning the chat GPT or large language model is able to control your computer. And if it's able to control your or a computer, it's your new best friend and best employee because now it can click on those websites, enter credentials, and work on workflows, automate your business to a very, very high regard. So that's what we are hoping for. So, uh, before I keep going, any questions? Yeah. Do you feel that AI will be so smart that eventually it will not need us? Yeah, that's the goal. Autonomy.
Like on
Um,
some iRobot, kind of thing.
so you mean manifesting our worst fears? No,
Yeah.
no, no. Why? Because there will be regulations. There's
Okay.
always regulations. But unfortunately, in human society, a behavior trend that I've picked up on is that unfortunately a bad thing has to happen in order for regulation to pass. Human beings tend to be more reactive than proactive. So,
Mhm.
yeah, regulation will be implemented eventually. Whether that takes
Okay.
whether that takes an incident or not, that's for society to depend on. But like, is it possible? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Listen, I want a Tesla robot. I want 10 Tesla robots. I have 6 kids and 6 dogs. I want a fleet. Okay.
I need it.
Don't give me that, a robot will, all it takes is 10 pounds of pressure with a sharp object in my sleep, and I'm night night for a long time. So come on, let's not manifest the negative, right? Because this is a beautiful thing. This is um emulation of mankind. This is an emulation, a reflection of us. And if our reflection tends to show us our worst condition, then maybe we should address that. Just a thought point.
That's deep.
But
That's
yeah,
deep. That's
sorry,
deep.
yeah, don't mean to get that deep. But yeah, yeah. Let's see what else. What about for something as a CMA? Is it safe to use ChatGPT for? So yeah, I mean, you could. I would go old school with CMAs, especially since market nuance and zip code variants, and even getting more granular. It really is community by community. Um, you would want to enter those data points and, use ChatGPT as a reference, but not as a final end all be all, because you're, at the end of the day, you're the professional. So you should be able to safely and accurately provide the CMA according to best practices. And if you don't know best practices, Bobby.
Yeah, so let's do this because I want to make sure we get through all your content. We'll do question and answer at the end, right? I want to make sure you show us some of the examples of the things that you've got going on. And then at the end, we're going to address all the questions that are in the chat.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah. Listen, got your top of mind. Time.
I want to make sure you get through your stuff, bro.
Oh yeah, I got you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so let's proceed. So why ChatGPT? The first step is voice. If you open up your app, I dropped the link to download ChatGPT either on your computer or your phone or your tablet. Please download it. It is free to use. I highly suggest you subscribe to the Pro account. The Pro account will allow you more features and more access to things. It's the best $20 you could spend. Like, sacrifice Netflix if it's really that serious. We're in this for financial freedom. We're in this to make money. We're in this to help people get into some of the biggest investments of their lives. So, invest in yourself a little bit. That's my pitch. So with voice, voice is Siri on steroids. It's what we all hope Siri, or whatever your favorite virtual assistant is. Sorry, I'm trying to disengage Siri because it's stupid and wants to activate on all my devices, like I said. So voice is great because ultimately it acts as an emulation of a human being. If you tap that voice icon on your phones right now and talk to it, it will talk to you and have a conversation. Unlimited with the Pro account. There's some cap limits, right, with the free account, but it's voice. That there's no complicating it. It's sure I can break down how it's done and what goes behind all of that, but at the end of the day, you have someone to speak to. Um, and I think at a deep personal level, for for some of us who feel like are lonely, I've seen this being used as therapeutic, or being able to save lives almost. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, that's voice, right? That's just surface level voice. But being able to communicate with your phone or with the smartest thing that you've ever talked to is amazing. Hands-free AI. So with voice comes vision. As you can see, if you tap that camera icon and it's under the voice button and then the camera icon, it'll show like a FaceTime call, and you'll be able to see and analyze. It will be able to see and analyze everything around you. I've leveraged this sometimes in content production when I'm in the field and I'm shooting and I'm like, hey, I need help articulating something. How would you describe this? Or give me a short script. The possibilities are endless. But ultimately, voice is a robot's voice and vision is a robot's eyes. So we already have voice, we have vision, and we have the brain part. So next is image generation. So I was saying before, image generation in ChatGPT was through DALL-E, and DALL-E was, something that was always being worked on internally in OpenAI, and DALL-E was the first prominent image generation tool that a large language model offered at the time. And they developed it to a point where now, we can go ahead and articulate a prompt in a separate thread and then put that prompt in a thread for image generation and then customize it accordingly. Like you see here, if I wanted to incorporate a little story poster of downtown Orlando, Lake Eola, with a beautiful sunset and specifying the text in the city, right? Like, the possibilities are endless with this image generation, and it's amazing. And of course there's intellectual property protections put in place, to prevent being sued, but within reason, you can produce any image. And there's even other external tools that do this specifically at a higher level. But to have this integrated into a singular tool for $20 a month, I mean, listen, the value's there. So with image generation, as you can see, is Sora. You know, in 2023, I don't know if y'all remember, we had Will Smith eating spaghetti, and we had this whew, very, very, very rough video creation by AI. Now, yeah, you see that. Looks pretty realistic to me. And it's only gotten better. And the current social trends, I don't know if you've seen, but babyfying yourself and speaking in like a podcast mic. Listen, reality is going to get very interesting very, very soon. And if we don't get caught up and are not privy to what's going on, we're going to get left behind, and we can't afford that. We can't. I'm saying the baby videos are hilarious. So after the video creation, of course, video creation, you can do everything that DALL-E is capable of, or the image generation tool is capable of. It's custom GPT tool creation. So this is the window pane to customize your GPT tool. And we've leveraged this to, compress time for inspection analysis, contract analysis. I have, what else? A content creation GPT where I've instructed it with certain, NLP verbiage and some Chet Black templating and Tony Robbins templating, right? Like I've trained it so that way it's very industry specific into what type of avatar our buyer or seller in which we're trying to attract. So yeah, like this is not hard to do. Name it, describe it, give it something to do. And if you don't know what to do, ask ChatGPT. It's not hard. It will guide you in the right direction. You could literally write your own application this afternoon if you wanted to, if you dedicated a couple hours. It's not hard. So after custom GPTs, oh, well, here we go. Yeah, Luminera, the inspection report, Glasswing, our contract interpreter, Wingspan is the content GPT I had spoken of. And then there's even a GPT store or a suite where there's many other GPT tools for other different use cases. The possibilities are endless, which is why I love AI. After custom GPTs is deep research. And like I was saying before, ultimately deep research allows a PhD level analysis and response of anything you give it. So contract analysis, marketing strategies, anything high level that you really need a deeper thought, that's going to be your go-to tool. That's it. That's it. Nothing too complex. After deep research is what I hope that AI comes with soon. It's autonomy, it's operator. So operator in ChatGPT, they leverage right now specific applications for autonomy. So dining and events, delivery, local services, shopping, right? It's all very early stages. As this grows, as more services sign up, as more websites become more accessible, we're gonna have full autonomy, guys. Like computers are gonna be running themselves. And then at that point, it's like, what now? What do I do with my hands? How much time am I
Give
getting
me an
back?
example. Give me an example of what you will be able to do with operator that people would totally be like, no way. Like what will you be able to do? Like that's something that everyday people would be doing.
Something everyday people will be doing.
Or realtors.
Oh, well, yeah, I could do both use cases. So like I imagine a future where microphones and cameras are more prevalent in homes and more discreet. And ultimately, it will be those inputs, right? Those data inputs will be linked to a house brain, right? And the house brain will just observe and interact according to your behaviors and actions. So if it sees you getting up at 5 a.m. for your 5:30 cardio, it's gonna have your toothpaste ready with your Tesla robot, right? Like this is the future I live in already. I'm just trying to manifest it one day at a time. Um, that's everyday task. From a business standpoint, I'm personally crafting a transaction coordinator operator, and that transaction coordinator is going to be able to, once under contract in my CRM, that's it. I don't need to do anything else. Everything's automated relative to under contract date and forecasted close date. That's it. That's all. That's the 2 data points you need. Everything else, as long as the system is implemented, that's all I need. I know because I run my systems. I created my system. I actually just migrated to Sisu this weekend, which was so much fun. So much fun. A lot of copying and pasting. So I know my systems are refined and ready for AI implementation. Are yours? I'm ready. I can't wait. I want to buy back time to be able to produce more content. And that's where omnipresence comes in. So yeah, autonomy with operator and these other large language models will eventually get it down. This is something that's really complex because in order for this to happen, there needs to be a deep analysis of text. There needs to be a web integration, and vision really has to be on point in terms of an analysis of text and objects and everything. So it's a chaotic symphony of ones and zeros that ultimately culminate to autonomy. This is what I'm like so excited about. This is what I dream about. So, like, the practical uses today are everything from emails, email correspondence, social media, text correspondence, workflows, website design. I use ChatGPT to design my website. Everything, automations, calendar management. There isn't anything that AI cannot do right now. And if it can't do it right now, it's just a matter of time and applying the right amount of money and resources. You know, in terms of Sora, right? Sora is in early stages because it's really resource intensive. It takes a lot of GPUs, they're called, and they're really expensive. Um, it requires a lot of processing power. And this is a early bottleneck that we had 50, 60 years ago that sometimes we encounter on a monthly basis. That's why they're always refining and making the system more efficient and making sure they try to get costs down as much as possible, because the more efficient this runs, the better. Tying into nuclear energy and tying into fusion energy, right? If we can tap into those unlimited resources of energy, we have unlimited resources of processing power. Because if we have unlimited energy, then we have unlimited manufacturing. Future is very bright for those who are privy to it. So yeah. So I love this slide because I guess I get to highlight our wife and the beautiful YouTube channel we've grown. We are currently about to hit 11,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we leverage AI every chance we get. From the technical elements, I do the videography, the drone, and that's all self-taught through YouTube and AI. Our banners design, our QR code. Oh, hold on. It says I'm sharing the screen.
You're good. We see it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so generating descriptions, title optimization with SEO keyword terms, hashtags. The debate's out on hashtags. I don't know. From a technical standpoint, you don't need it because all text is processed. But then again, I still see people utilizing it. To each his own. No judgment. But like I said earlier, leveraging the video portion of AI, enhancing our production and being able to articulate something that you may be stuck on mentally. So yeah, and then engagement strategies, right? Like, for example, we've been operating our YouTube channel for about 2.5 years now, and we've been noticing a declining trend in certain analytic points. So I threw those analytic points into ChatGPT once we got tired of realizing trends were going down for whatever reason. And ChatGPT ultimately told us we were oversaturating our channel. We were providing 3 videos a week. And ChatGPT was like, no, cut it to 1. And I was like, one video? for 30 days. Okay, trusted it, and sure enough, it reinvigorated our algorithm, and our viewership numbers are back up. Our subscribers count is going back up, and yeah, that's thanks to AI. I would have been doing Google searches for weeks trying to figure this out, looking up blog posts and websites and all of this. I just compressed weeks of time by screenshotting analytics from our YouTube studio into ChatGPT and articulating my ChatGPT the context that, hey, viewership is down, not sure what's going on, we're being consistent, XYZ, we're doing lives, what's going on? For it to tell me we were oversaturating, I was like, oh, wouldn't have thought of that. I thought the more content, the better. But YouTube is not social media. YouTube is long form. Long form, 1 to 2 videos a week. That's all you really need. So
just to clarify, what one a week, not one every 30 days.
Correct. 1 a week, 1 video per week.
Got it.
Yep, just 1 video per week. That's all you need to stay consistent on YouTube. And then you build off of that. So after YouTube, it's our tool suite. And it's a lot of reading, don't worry. I'm gonna drop this email template I have that covers our tool suite, a custom instruction set that allow you to copy and paste into your GPT. And this instruction set basically compresses time. Like I said earlier, I found myself really repeating myself to ChatGPT and articulating myself to it. And I found a really good baseline instruction set that allows people to really compress time in terms of communicating with ChatGPT and producing results that are contextual to what you really want. So that's going to be in there as well. So just read along. If you want a screenshot, cool, but don't worry, you're going to get the information. So ultimately, the AI tools we leverage in content creation and video editing is Canva for thumbnails, Opus Clip for repurposing of our long form content. We use Gamma for presentations. I can't tell you, like, having launched our coaching platform, Gamma has saved me weeks of time and money because I was going to leverage a VA to just manually do it, but Gamma creates presentations, documents, ebooks, whatever, in less than a minute, and all off of a single ChatGPT prompt. I think it's amazing. And then we leverage ChatGPT for image generation. For team operations, CRM stuff, we leverage Sisu, and I really appreciate Sisu because of its high degree of metric counting and its ease of access through like back-end data sharing for automation. So that's something I really appreciate, especially its ease of access tie into Follow Up Boss. It's a 1-for-1 communication. So whatever gets updated in Sisu gets updated in Follow Up Boss and vice versa. And then I leverage Corded.io. Corded.io is an amazing website. It's an amazing service that allows you to compress time instead of searching Stellar MLS for agent data. It's all right there in a very simple user interface, and it even provides AI tools in terms of analysis and templating and whatnot. So if you're into the whole agent attraction thing, definitely recommend signing up for that in your relative market. For client interaction and scheduling, we do Calendly. There's a Calendly link in the YouTube description. That's where the QR code goes to for in our banner, and that's ultimately where we want our clients to go to in our calendar. We don't want them to go to Instagram or any other social profile. We want them in our calendar so we could talk to them face to face like we are right now and discuss pain points, discuss future aspirations, and be that professional, be that conduit of real estate, right? And as you can see, we leverage Zoom a lot. We love Zoom because of back-end access and AI tools that they're leveraging. Excuse me. Eventbrite, we leverage Eventbrite for events, and Wix for our website and landing pages. Wix gets hate just because of cost and some convolution. I can understand that, but having my tech background, it's very easy to use once you start using it. And then with AI and automation, of course, ChatGPT for everything. Zapier for automation automations in terms of connectivity between different tools like the CRM and ChatGPT. And then we leverage Google Workspace for email and file sharing and all of that. And then also we leverage HouseWhisper.ai. HouseWhisper is basically ChatGPT voice attached to your CRM. And the way you interact with it is via text message or via phone call. And it's compressed time for us on a daily basis, at least a couple hours in terms of CRM interaction for not only Alexis, but our VAs. So yeah, through this combination of tools, like our business is really thriving. We're looking, we did almost 60 deals. We did 59 deals last year, and we're looking to do almost 70 this year. So yeah, the sky's the limit as long as you're privy to what's going on. So yeah, so these are our tools and the future outlook. So like, yeah, Josie was talking about iRobot. Of course, that's a fear, right? Terminator, all the movies, right? Worst case scenario is never going to be the worst case scenario unless you allow it to happen. I see a bright future. I see a future where enlightenment happens, where intelligence spreads, where robots and mankind can live in symbiosis and help each other. We can give robots a sense of purpose, and robots can assist us in everything. Elderly care, space travel, you name it, industry, manufacturing, scaling, everything. And it's not to replace jobs, right? You know, I always make the metaphor of like, you know, tell that to the horseshoe maker, right? Like talk about the automobile to the horseshoe maker. And I make that reference because it's like times are changing. Times always change. Time doesn't wait for nobody. And just to sit in your microcosm and not really appreciate it doesn't mean it's going away. It means the world keeps spinning. And what you want to do with what you want to do with that information is totally within your control. It's within your hands. We're gonna have robots. I can't wait to take a vacation. I can't wait to take a vacation in low Earth orbit, a 4-day trip around Earth. That's the future we're gonna be living in. How could you not find joy or aspire to want to free yourself from a daily grind and create systems and create a lifestyle that will allow you to do whatever because AI allows you to do whatever. That's the real.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, listen, everything's messy. You know, a change is always messy. You know, there's going to be change. I don't think that there's this perfect way of changing where somebody's not going to get hurt, right? But the people that usually get hurt are the people that are turning a blind eye and not realizing that this is not going anywhere. You know, like it's like, listen, like the battle's already lost. Like if you're trying to fight against AI, like you've already lost. So let's just work with it, you know. And that's all it's going to be. I mean, it's really going to be the people who see the power of it and say, we're going to have to get more creative. And that's the whole thing. I mean, it's really going to separate. It's going to separate a lot of folks, but that's like anything else. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, in any real estate office, you're going to get one type of person, another type of person. You're going to get a person with the fire inside who's going to go hustle and make it happen. There's somebody who's going to blame the industry and say the industry doesn't work. And it's always going to be like this. To me, it's just going to increase that competition in a sense where it's like, hey, listen, we all got to step up. So on that route though, and this is a question for Monica. And it is, I think this is always comes up, right? Do you think AI will replace realtors? And I'm not as I was going to ask you kind of something along the same lines because I do believe that maybe people are being like too optimistic about the fact that some jobs are saying like some jobs are going, they're definitely going. Like the statistics are already there. Like I personally, I don't see us needing a CPA. I don't see it. Why am I going to pay somebody who doesn't know tax law better than AI knows tax law? Like I don't like you should be retooling, like retool, because it's going to happen. Now, realtors, the one thing that I feel like protects us in a sense is that this is a relationship type business, which is funny because this is what I've always kind of like hung my business on, is being great at building relationships, because real estate's such a personal thing. I think that there's going to be an avenue for at least to extend the shelf life of an agent and say, hey, look, people still going to have a problem trusting like a machine to do certain things, but you gotta believe that some of these things will go, like some of the things that we're doing will go away. So out of curiosity, tell us what you think would be going away with this technology, Victor, in the real estate game.
I agree with you because AI is meant to compress time to allow more human connectivity, right? And just from my interactions, I feel like human beings want to deal with other human beings when it comes to very large purchases. They don't want to feel like they're going through an automated system when they're about to spend 350 grand on a home they're going to call home for 7 years, 5 to 7 years, right? That's something that is an emotional tie, right? That they want to share with their realtor partner that's going to guide them through that. So I don't think realtors are going to be replaced. I think a lot of the repetitive tasks that realtors have to do on a day to day are going to go away, right? I think that is going to allow a lot of time being brought back. I think teaching is going to go away. I think teachers, you know, is going to be to a point where every individual student will have an AI teacher companion. So yeah, repetitive tasks are going away.
Absolutely. Yeah, like
Freeing up for you to do art, freeing up for you to do whatever. But understanding the goal here is financial freedom.
Absolutely. And remember that you guys are all entrepreneurs, right? And which is actually the most protected species, I believe, in the AI revolution, right? Like, this is why I focus on this. This is like, it's entrepreneurship and investing. Like, if you really want to protect yourself, like, you should be thinking in these realms, because I believe that in order for you to, and obviously we're early in the game, but I think in the future, you're going to have to be a creator of things. Like, you're going to have to leverage AI to create new angles, new things, new business, new types of investing, new income streams that aren't there yet, because you're leveraging these tools. But don't get it twisted. Like, there's going to be no need for certain things. Like, why wouldn't he pay? We don't need paralegals. Why would we need paralegals? Like, you got something that you don't need. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with these things, but like, if you like shut your eyes and say, oh no, it's not happening, it's going to happen. Like, it's absolutely going to happen. I think, it's like autonomous driving and things like that. Like, dude, at some point, there's probably not going to be truck drivers. Gotta believe that. You just gotta believe it. Like, you've got to say to yourself, hey man, I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I better have a plan 10 years from now. Like, if that's my profession, like, I better have a different plan. And so, like, to me, I'm always big on, like, dude, let's just wake up and see what's happening, but stay on top of it. Let's see. You started to answer Joseph CMA. I think we covered the CMA portion of it, in the sense of, I agree with Victor, Joseph, about the fact that I'm still leveraging these tools with a grain of salt, because there's an element of this that is an art. And so to me, I use it more as a reference, and say, hey, am I on point with my detective research to see what a property's value should be? Is this in line with what I'm saying, or could it provide me a new perspective that I wasn't seeing, versus saying, let's just plug it in, hope it spits out the right thing? I'm not there yet. This is why I've always taught people to do like manual, like I've always taught people to do manual comping, because I think that there's a net level of like art to this. There's art and science mix, and it's like you're a detective, and there's these clues that if you know how to look at the data, you can be like, yeah, I could price it at that, but look at this over here. And I think that it's not quite there yet on that front. Any other questions that you guys want to drop in the chat, AI wise? I'll ask you this one while, if anybody, we got 3 minutes left. But if you're not, if somebody was like, okay, I admit it, I'm not really leveraging AI right now. What are like the first 1 to 3 things like that? Oh, this is a must that you're going to do right now in your business to elevate how you're doing business right now. Like, just like, if you're not doing this, like, this is just like basic, like, gotta have it.
So if you're not leveraging ChatGPT on a on a micro level, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you're not running almost every thought or every question through ChatGPT to increase your awareness of something, you're doing yourself a disservice, because why not have access to all that information, right? Two, communication. Communication takes up a lot of time and brain power. I found Alexis sometimes looking, at an email for 20 minutes trying to craft what's going to be the response without being, her spicy self. So, removing emotion from correspondence, I feel, compresses time and allows AI to really excel in that capacity. Yeah, go ahead.
Arturo put a question in there, so let's get to it. A couple minutes
Okay.
left. How do you deal with fact checking your AI's answers when you find incorrect information or outputs? That's a great question, because there's sometimes I'm like, oh, that was actually wrong. Like,
yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know what it is? It comes down to the user. It comes down to you, right? It comes down to your intuition. Because some of these platforms do hallucinate. They do manifest data. I'll tell you, the reason why Google Gemini has not been referenced in my slide is because of that. When I've used it, I got it to trigger hallucinating, and not just on a small scale. Like, it's okay now. It got fixed, I think, but I haven't really used it because of it. The model I trust most right now is ChatGPT, and that's because of the resources, data, money, and investment that's going into it. So yeah, with that being said, run a Google search. Run a Google search, right? I mean, the rabbit hole can go as deep as what is
it
reality,
takes too
right?
long, bro.
What's truth? What's the absolute truth of everything, right? And you can go down that rabbit hole if you want to. But when it comes to principle data-driven information, ChatGPT tends to be really accurate and correct. And it's referenced from the web. That's where all this data comes from. It doesn't come from anywhere else other than the web. It indexes text via websites and collects everything from what's in the website to the programming language to all of it. So yeah, how do I feel?
We're at 1 o'clock.
Oh.
So I don't know how much longer we should stay on and respect everybody's time. Unless you can answer that in 5 seconds. How do you feel about
Oh yeah,
OpenAI?
absolutely. So listening descriptions, great, awesome. How do I feel about OpenAI versus closed AI? OpenAI, the company is great. I firmly believe in open source AI versus closed AI systems. Open source will allow a freer, more truthful model versus closed systems that are private equity funded. If that's where you were going towards. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Vic, it's been a pleasure, brother.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I've seen
Appreciate
Didi
you.
out there clapping. Everybody's loving the stuff, putting it in the chat. And thank you again for being just a immensely valuable member of the Global Alliance. Keep bringing the AI fire, brother. And we'll see you guys soon on the next Gap Mastermind. Take care, guys.